Hey guys, it's Jenny. Welcome back to the Bookworms Buddy. It is time for Tackle My TBR. Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome new subscribers. Thank you all for your continued support of my channel. I know I haven't been here for a couple weeks, but as I explained in my last video, my sister and family were here for 2 weeks. We had an amazing time. It was just absolutely phenomenal, and we had a lot of fun. But now it's time to get back to work and get these videos going. So today is Tackle My TBR. I'm gonna cover just the last couple weeks of books that I have not, shown you guys yet. And this one I don't believe was on my Spook Season TBR, but I did talk about it in my last one, and that is All Hallows. I chose this one because it was actually more along the lines of Halloween and Spook Season. The other two books I read, The Cousins and The Resting Place, they just weren't really Spook Season books. They were more thrillers. But this one was fantastic. It fit into that frame of spooky. It actually takes place on Halloween in 1984 in Coventry, Massachusetts. In this book, we've got 4 children that just show up on Halloween, talking about the cunning man and how he is after them. So whoever they go to, they feel like they need to save them and protect them from the cunning man. Nobody knows who they were. And there were some parts I was like, oh, this is going to be kind of like a time travel. Nothing like a time travel. This did not end up being anything like I thought it was going to be. I thought I had all the answers worked out, and I didn't. Little bit slow. Like in the beginning parts, it did pick up. It did wrap up pretty nicely. It ended up getting a 3.5 stars for me, but it's definitely worth the read, especially now during this season. So check out All Hallows by Christopher Golden. The next book that I read was The Night Parade by Ronald Melfi, and I was sure that I read a Ronald Melfi book before, but it's not on my Goodreads. So I'm thinking maybe I read one before I got Goodreads, which means that would have been back in 2013, and that would have been a long, long time ago. But I found this one at Target last year and just didn't pick it up. So I decided to go with this one. Look at that cover, minus the Target sticker. This book we're following David and Ellie. And in this book, they're on the run. And they're on the run because there is a virus out there, and it's called Wanderer's Folly. And it's a virus where people, they get nosebleeds all the time. They're like seeing things. They're hallucinating. They're doing things they wouldn't normally do. And that's how they knew that someone had Wanderer's Folly. So David was married, and his wife was immune, and his wife was taken in, and they wanted to test on her and see if they could come up with something that would cure everybody else. And they just tested and tested and tested, and finally her body gives out and she passes away. Well, their daughter Ellie is also immune, and David knows he needs to act fast. So he ups himself and Ellie, and they take off, and they're trying to run from these doctors or whoever, it was, so they cannot do their testing on his daughter. And that is pretty much the story, and that is what I'm going to give you. It really was a great read, you guys. I ended up giving this 5 stars. Again, not what I first suspected. He likes to lead you down this trail, and it's something completely different. So it was really good. I loved the mystery, the apprehension that I felt in certain parts of the book. No, not a scary read, really, but it seemed to fit the bill. So that one is The Night Parade by Ronald Melfi. The next book I read was also not on my Spook Season TBR, but it kind of had that eeriness about it. And my niece and I both wanted to read it together, and I bought it at Barnes & Noble. Here's a spoiler. It's a book all coming soon. Anyway, so we decided to pick this one up and read it, and it is Haunting Adeline. This is a dark romance. I have to tell you, there are trigger warnings all over the place. So as far as dark romance goes, and we all pretty much, if you've read a dark romance, you pretty much know where that's going. I'm not going to get through all the warnings, but she does have a nice, important note in the beginning of this book that explains it all to you. So if you want to go pick this up and buy it, read the important note so that you are prepared. Now, this book, I'm going to say it was not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be, because both of us are a little apprehensive to pick this up and read it. But you guys, I actually really liked the story. We're following Adeline. Now she gets a house that was her nana, and then her great grandmother is the one that owned it previously, and then her grandmother had it after that, and now it's passed down to Adeline, and weird things are happening in the house. On top of that, she has a stalker, and the stalker is getting closer and closer, and I'm not going to tell you a whole lot about it, but it really does kind of fit the spook season bill if you're talking about that part of it. I don't want to say a whole lot because I don't want to give it away, but our male character's name is Zaid, and that's all I'm going to say. But it really is very good, you guys. She's just being stalked, and she's trying to figure out what her stalker wants, and all that good stuff. That's all I'm going to say. So anyway, like I said, if you're going to go pick this book up, read the important note. I don't know if that note is on Goodreads. I can't remember if that was on there or not. But it's very, very, very dark. Lots of dark elements in this book. But it was such a good read, and we're going to read the second one. So there we go, Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. And then the last book I read was Pen Pal, and that was by Dathan Arbach. Is that how you say it? Arbach? This is one I also had on my Kindle, and it's been on there, and my niece had picked up the book when we were book shopping, and she ended up reading it, and then my sister read it, and I started reading it, but then we decided to switch to Haunting Adeline, and I didn't read it then, so I finished it up afterwards. And this book, our main character is not named, and I don't know why our authors do that. I kind of had a feeling that Dathan Arbach was writing the story about himself at one point. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm not sure. But my niece said that, I don't know if she read it somewhere, but he kind of wants to just like you to put yourself in that place. But I feel like when there's not a name for the main character, there's a disconnect. There's a certain disconnect there between you and that character. Now, the plot was fantastic for the story. I liked the characters. And what happens is our no-named character is at school, and he and his classmates do the balloon thing, and they send it off with a note. So then whoever finds it, their pen pal finds it, and then they get notes back from these people. Not everybody does, because not everybody's balloon makes it somewhere. And so our character here did not ever get one until way later, and he starts getting like Polaroids. And then some crazy things start happening, and that's pretty much the story. I'm not going to go too far into it, but it does read more along like a very young adult or a middle grade read, because the kids in here are 6 years old, which kind of made the story feel a little unrealistic because of that. Because I can't imagine this being with a 6-year-old and the things that they were able to do in the story just didn't float well. And it just made it feel a little unrealistic. It is worth the read though. It's really got a good plot and the flow is very good. I end up rating it 3.5 stars. So definitely pick it up and give it a read. It really does have a good story, and there are some moments in the book where, you know, it's a little creepy. But yeah, it was definitely worth the read. So check that out. Pen Pal by Dathan Arbach. The last book that I managed to pick is Ghost Eaters, and this is by Clay McLeod Chapman. And I'm not very far in this book, you guys. I'm only on page 30. So in this book, we've got, it starts out with these two kids. They're probably teenagers, high teens, and they're at the cemetery, and they're just, you know, they're using drugs and stuff, and the security guards come, and they're running, and then we switch out of that, and now I'm into a spot where she's more grown up. Now she's 24, but apparently there's a drug that allows you to see the dead, and she is trying to get her friend from back in their young days and trying to get him to be clean, and he's not, and she's always having to bail him out and this and that. Well, he dies, and then somebody approaches her with this drug about seeing dead people. So sounded interesting. This is currently on my Spook Season TBR. I figured I better read one that's on there. So we're reading this one right now, and I should finish this up in a couple days. So far, it's got a pretty good flow, so we'll see what happens with that. That's it, guys. That is what I read for the 2 weeks that I have been absent. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Comment down below what your thoughts were on them. But that's all I have for you today. Thanks for staying tuned. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.